Hey guys, welcome back. Let's look into something really basic in this lecture. We'll look into moles, molar masses, gram molecular mass, gram atomic mass and equivalent mass, and maybe do a couple of calculations along with it. So basic definition of moles is the number of atoms present in 12 grams of carbon 12. It has got to be carbon 12, not carbon 14. So 12 grams of carbon 12. So we have seen various ways of calculating moles. You can do mass over molar mass if the mass is known. You can do molarity times volume if it is a liquid and the molarity is known. We can also, if it's a gas, do PV equals nRT, where n being the moles. We know that. Now, the atomic mass is basically the weight of the substance that has 1 mole of the substance in it, or weight of 1 mole of any substance. And the unit for an atomic mass is AMU, atomic mass unit. Now, if you were to use the unit as grams, then it becomes gram atomic mass or gram atoms. So basically atomic mass and gram atomic mass or gram atom is essentially the same number if measured in grams. Similarly, when you go to molecular mass is the weight of 1 mole of any given molecule. And again the units of molecular mass is AMU, atomic mass unit. If you were to use grams instead, then it becomes gram molecular mass as well, or gram mole. So 1 gram mole of any substance is basically its molecular mass expressed in gram per mole. Alright, so this is very simple. Now the question can be just talking about gram mole or gram molecular mass, all those. It's just meaning you have to calculate the molecular mass accurately. Now regarding molecular masses, a note for JEE main and NEET. You will be given molecular mass pretty much most of the time, but I would recommend you guys to remember only some of the molecular masses. They may not have to give you. The ones that you have to remember: hydrogen, of course, 1.008, all practical purpose 1, and you have to remember all your second period elements. Lithium all the way till your fluorine at least. Okay, you want to remember that because they may not give you. Then also it helps in remembering few things. For example, you want to remember your copper, recurring example. You want to remember your iron, recurring example. You want to remember your silver, 108. You want to remember your gold. You want to remember your lead. Okay. These are numbers that keep coming. And also, by the way, you want to remember calcium and a couple of compounds that you want to remember molecular mass right away. That will be extremely useful for you. Is urea. 60. You want to remember urea. Acetic acid 60. NaCl 58.5. Glucose 180. Glucose plus fructose is 360 minus water 342. Weight of sucrose. Calcium carbonate, really good example. It keeps coming over and over again. Around molecular mass 100. Why you want to do that is twofold. One is to save time. What if they give you urea in the exam? You remember the molecular mass. They may give you the atomic masses. Why waste your time? Second thing is, what if you make a mistake? And you can always round off the numbers. You don't need to worry about decimals. Significant figures are not needed in your NEET. In JEE mains right now, your numerical question has started coming from 2020. So there are 5 questions in chemistry where you have to write your answer. There you might need significant figures, but they do give a window in JEE mains. You can calculate approximately, that's more than enough. Alright, now enough with molecular masses. Now that we know molecular mass, what is equivalent mass? Equivalent mass of a substance is defined as the number of parts by mass of the substance which combine or displaced directly or indirectly. 1.008 parts by mass of hydrogen, or 8 parts by mass of oxygen, or 35.5 parts by mass of chlorine, or 108 parts by mass of silver. These are extremely simple. You can just basically look into these numbers and see hydrogen is same as its molecular mass. Silver is same as its molecular mass. Chlorine is same as its molecular mass, 35.5. Oxygen alone changes because valency of oxygen is -2. So molecular mass of oxygen by 2 will give you 8. So that gives you an approximate number. One equivalent of anything will react with one equivalent or will combine with one equivalent of anything to give you one equivalent of the product. That's what. The equivalent is completely different than the moles. Mole ratio could be different, equivalent ratio could be different. Couple of things about equivalence or equivalent weight. equivalent weight for a given atom can be different in different scenarios depending on who it's combining with, what is the redox reaction is happening. For example, Fe3 plus can have an equivalent weight that is different in two different reactions. It may go to Fe2 plus or it may go to Fe0. So equivalent mass is not fixed, whereas molar mass is fixed pretty much, because you have defined the number of atoms in a mole or molecules in a mole, that's defined, molecular mass. Equivalent mass will change. If you take copper, atomic mass of copper is 63.5 gram per mole. Now what we can say is, we can just review what we just wrote. 63.5 is that of copper, oxygen is 16.0, 79.5 will be the molar mass of copper with oxygen, CuO. Okay. You can also say this is the gram molecular mass or gram mole. So 1 gram mole of CuO will be 79.5 grams. Now looking into equivalent mass. Now if you look into it, 63.5 grams of copper in 1 mole, obviously there is only 1 mole here, 63.5 grams as combined with 16 grams. 5 grams as combined with 16 grams of oxygen. According to a definition of your equivalent mass, what is the weight that combines with 8 gram parts of oxygen? So 8 grams oxygen, meaning how much will combine? 63.5 divided by 2. Straightforward. Or we can say equivalent weight equals molecular weight divided by valency. That's the easiest way to say. Valency is 2 plus, so equivalent weight equals molecular weight divided by 2. Looking at the other one. Now what we can say is 2 times 63.5 grams of copper combines with, if you take here, 16 grams of oxygen. So how much combines with 8 grams of oxygen? 2 times 63.5 divided by 2, that equals 63.5. Or we can say equivalent weight equals molecular weight divided by valency. Molecular weight is 63.5 gram per mole divided by valency. Valency of copper here is, oxygen is 2 minus, there are 2 coppers, so sharing the burden of the negative by being 2 positive, each copper is plus 1. So this is 63.5 gram. Now you don't say per mole, per equivalent. This is the basic definition of getting your equivalent weight. Now obviously this is one way of doing it. The other way is solving the actual problem setup. We will look into a couple of problems right now. There are shortcut formulas to calculate the equivalent weight right away. For example, when they are telling you about hydrogen, you can say equivalent mass of the element would be mass of the element divided by mass of hydrogen times 1.008. Of course, I can show you how to get this formula. You can also do the same for oxygen, mass of element divided by mass of oxygen times 8, or chlorine is mass of element times mass of chlorine times 35.5, or silver would be mass of element divided by mass of silver times 108. So basically they follow the same pattern. Let's look into a problem right now. An unknown element forms an oxide. What will be the equivalent mass of the element if the oxygen content is 20% by mass? In this problem, they are trying to relate the equivalent mass to that of grams of oxygen atom. So what we can do is, equivalent weight can be mass of element divided by mass of oxygen times 8. Now here the mass of the element would be whenever they give you a percentage problem, you always take it out of 100. So the mass of the element is 80 grams in 100 grams of the compound divided by mass of oxygen is 20 grams in 20 grams of the compound times 8. So that would give you 32 gram per equivalent. This is one way of doing. So how do you get this formula? For example, let's take here what I have is 20 grams of oxygen. That's what I have. So how many equivalents of oxygen do I have? Remember, equivalent we always calculate how many parts of the metal or the given atom combines with 8 gram parts of oxygen. So how many equivalents of oxygen is nothing but the given grams divided by 8. So this is the equivalence of oxygen. Now what we know is always one equivalent of something combines with one equivalent of anything else. So 20 by 8 equivalence of something will always combine with 20 by equivalent of anything else. Now when you want to do equivalent weight of the metal, the mass of the metal divided by how many equivalents are there? There are 20 by 8 equivalents of oxygen that will combine with 20 by 8 equivalent of anything else I said. So 20 by 8 equivalents of oxygen will combine with 20 by 8 equivalents of the metal. So I know the mass of the metal, I know the equivalence of the metal. This will give you mass over equivalence will give you mass over equivalence, gram per equivalent. So your equivalent weight. So this is basically, this understanding is what goes into this formula. If you understand this, then this formula is good enough. If they relate it to hydrogen, this would be mass of hydrogen times 1.008. If they relate it to silver or chlorine, accordingly you can change the number 108 or 35.5 respectively. Now when you look at your hydrogen, silver and chlorine, it's extremely simple. The valency is 1. So life is extremely simple when the number is always 1, because dividing by 1 is always the same number. Whereas in oxygen it is going to be different. Hence you actually have this oxygen valency is 2. So 16 by 2 becomes 8. So hence you change accordingly. Let's look into one more problem in terms of algebraic expression. A metal M of equivalent mass E forms an oxide of molecular formula MXOY. The atomic mass of the metal is given by the correct equation. The formula of the compound has been given as MXOY. They are asking about equivalent weight of the metal, except they give it to you in algebraic system. Now what do you want to do is, first let's assume that the atomic weight of M is any symbol that you want. Let's say for example I take it as A. So I have mass of M equals atomic mass times the number of atoms, A times X. Mass of oxygen will be Y times 16, just like calculating our molar masses. Okay. Now what we can do, equivalent weight equals mass of M divided by mass of oxygen times 8. So that should be mass of M would be A times X divided by Y times 16 times 8. So that would give you 1 by 2 times AX by Y, or you can also write alternatively A by 2 X by Y. Now that we have gone this, they have given you a symbol E as your equivalent weight, and they are asking you what is the atomic weight of metal or unknown. So if E equals A by 2 times X by Y, we can say A equals 2E times Y by X, our answer. Again, this is much simpler if The moment they give you equivalence, if you are able to equivalent weight, if you are able to think about this formula, you can actually, once you write it, then look into, okay, how do I get mass of X? Generally, mass of something is the atomic mass times the corresponding subscript. Then you can set it into, okay, this is what I don't know, you can set up whatever symbol. I would not use X here as unknown because X is already assigned for the subscripts. Equivalent mass can come in three different types of calculation. One we just saw. The second one can be in redox equations or acid-base titrations. So when it comes to redox equation or acid-base titration, equivalent masses or equivalent weight is extremely simple. Molecular weight divided by n factor. The n factor will keep changing depending on the given equation. It's not fixed, it can change according to the corresponding reaction that is given. When it comes to redox equations, the n factor is nothing but your change in electrons. Now let's look into an equation that we already know. I told you this also in D block lecture, this is important. MnO4 minus can react with oxalate C2O4 2 minus, and let's just say it is basic medium, so it becomes MnO2 plus CO2. We can balance this equation based on our redox method. You can take it as half reactions, this gives you this and this gives you this. That's one way of doing. Now we are not looking into balancing here, we are just looking into the equivalent weight side of it. So the oxidation numbers are +7 here. Carbon, for example, if you want to take valency of carbon is X, 2 times carbon plus 4 times -2 equals -2. 2x minus 8 equals -2, 2x equals 6, x equals +3. Here +4. So now what has happened is MnO4 minus has become MnO2 and C2O4 2 minus has become CO2. I am not trying to balance the equation here, I am just going to look at the equivalent weight concept. Law of chemical combination says one equivalent of anything will react with one equivalent of another reactant to give you one equivalent of any product. Meaning one equivalent of MnO4 minus will react with one equivalent of C2O4 2 minus to give you one equivalent of MnO2 and one equivalent of CO2. I am not talking about moles here, moles are different. Now that means 1 gram equivalent of MnO4 minus will react with 1 gram equivalent of C2O4 2 minus to give you 1 gram equivalent of MnO2 and 1 gram equivalent of CO2. Gram equivalent is just nothing but just like your gram molecular mass in terms of equivalent weight. Now looking at this, I have gone from +7 to +4. So it's a 3 electron process. Here I have gone from +3 to +4. The subscript is always important. You never care about the number in the front on the left side, but you want to look at the subscripts always. There is 1 Mn, 1 Mn, whereas there is C, 2 of them here, there is only one of them, so I put it here. So this is a 2 electron process total. Or I can say alternatively, 1 mole of C2O4 2 minus needs 2 mole electrons. Now equivalent weight is nothing but your molecular weight divided by n factor. N factor is nothing but the change in electrons. So in our case, this will be molecular weight divided by 3. In this case, it is going to be molecular weight divided by 2. So if the question asks you the equivalent weight of MnO4 minus, that is going to be molecular weight by 3. The equivalent weight of C2O4 2 minus is molecular weight by 2. What it means is molecular weight by 3, let's say this is X gram per equivalent. This is Y gram per equivalent. What it means is 1 equivalent of MnO4 minus will react with 1 equivalent of C2O4 2 minus. X gram per equivalent of MnO4 minus will react with Y gram per equivalent of C2O4 2 minus, or specifically X grams MnO4 minus reacts with Y grams C2O4 minus. This is completely different than your mole concept. Moles are a lot easier, equivalents are not as much easier, but you will start getting a pattern once you start solving problems. You will start seeing that it's not all that different, it's still a ratio, just the way you calculate the ratio is different. Let's get stronger in the topic a little bit more. We'll look into a different example. FeS goes to Fe3 plus SO2. Maybe we can also do FeS2 goes to Fe3 plus SO2. So in our case, the ion is plus 2, this is minus 2, here it is plus 4. So the ion has gone through 1 electron change, the sulfur has gone through 6 electron change. So ion has oxidized itself by losing 1 electron. Sulfur has oxidized by losing 6 electrons. So the total loss of electrons, is 1 plus 6 equals 7 electrons for the same compound. So your equivalent weight equals molecular weight divided by n factor. In our case, the n factor is 7. This is a little different than straight away calculating equivalent weight like last example. Here the same compound, there is 2 species in the same compound undergoing oxidation. Here if you see, ion has gone from plus 2 to plus 3. So that's 1 electron process. If you take sulfur, so we have to do the 2 here because subscript is 2. Sulfur here is minus 1 because there are 2 sulfurs there, minus 1 going into plus 4. So 2s minus goes to 2s4 plus. So that is 10 electron process. So the total number of electrons lost will be 1 by ion and 10 by sulfur, that will be 11. So our equivalent weight is molecular weight divided by n factor, that would be molecular weight divided by 11. So nothing has changed compared to the previous examples, except here 2 species are undergoing within the same compound, so you just add them together, the n factor. Both of them are losing electrons, so I would just add them. Similarly, if there is a species where both of them are gaining electron, your n factor would be adding those to gain of electrons. So previous example what we saw is where within a species 2 atoms are getting oxidized. What if within a species there are 2 atoms, one of them is getting oxidized, one of them is getting reduced? Or what if within a species the same atom, part of it getting oxidized, part of it getting reduced, meaning disproportionation reaction. We have our manganate, green in color, D block element, D block compound going into permanganate and manganese dioxide, purple in color. So if you look at the E0 values, the E0 value is such that when it goes this way, it is a spontaneous. E0 for the total reaction will be E0 of this and E0 of this. When you combine them, you actually see that it's a positive value. Latimer diagram, you can see that in electrochemistry lecture. So it will be positive, so it is going to disproportionate. Now here I have x plus 4 times minus 2 equals minus 2. So x minus 8 equals minus 2, x equals plus 6. So this is plus 6, this is something where you have to know it is plus 7, we have done it so many times, this is plus 4. So MnO4 2 minus goes to MnO4 minus, okay, this is minus 1 electron. MnO4 2 minus goes to MnO2. So here plus 6 goes to plus 4, gaining of 2 electrons. So when you have something like this, then how do you calculate the equivalent weight is? Equivalent weight equals molecular weight. We normally do n factor if there is 2 species that are undergoing reduction or 2 species undergoing oxidation. N factor is too simple, add the total electrons together. But here one is getting oxidized, one is getting reduced. So what you want to do is 1 divided by N factor of oxidation plus 1 divided by N factor of reduction. So here what I have is molecular weight divided by 1 divided by 1, okay, 1 electron process plus 1 divided by 2 electron process. So that would be 1 by 1 is 1, 1 plus half is 1.5. Molecular weight times 3 by 2. So the N factor here, the final N factor that you have actually is 2 by 3. How do we get 2 by 3 is basically equivalent weight equals molecular weight divided by N factor. So molecular weight divided by 2 by 3 becomes 3 by 2. This is how you do for a disproportionation reaction. Now that you have seen an example, why don't you pause the video, not right away, just listen to what I say. Why don't you pause the video after I finish talking and try to do this N factor for this one. You can try to use this example for a couple of things. You can try to see separately balancing, redox balancing, and also you try to figure out N factor. Hopefully you got the right answer. Now let's looking into it. You can say that there are 2 chlorine atoms here, one goes here, one goes here. There are multiple ways of doing. What we can do, by putting a number in the front, it's not going to change much. So here, let's take 2 of them. So that way I can say Cl2 goes to ClO3 minus, Cl2 goes to Cl minus. Easier. So Cl2, there is 2 here, so I'll put 2 here. There is 2 here, I'll put 2 here. That makes automatically 2. Now this is what I have. Cl2 here is, oxidation number is 0. Here we will have oxidation number of chlorine is X plus 3 times minus 2 of oxygen equals minus 1. X minus 6 equals minus 1, X equals plus 5. So here it is 0, this minus 1. So here if you see, this is a 0 to 5 is 5 electron process, 2 chlorines are present. I never care about this chlorine, this is the most important. I cannot separate it into Cl0, Cl0 doesn't exist, it will be Cl2. So each chlorine is 5 electron process, Cl2 is 10 electron process. So this is a 10 electron process. So here we can say equivalent weight of this part is molecular weight divided by N factor is 10. Here 0 goes to minus 1, 2 of them, so this is 2 electron process. So here molecular weight divided by 2. So equivalent weight of this part is molecular weight by 10, equivalent weight of this part is molecular weight by 2. So if you want, you can add both of them. That comes out to molecular weight 1 by 10 plus 1 by 2, which is similar to the formula we just saw, molecular weight times 1 by N factor of oxidation plus 1 by N factor of reduction. So that would be equivalent weight equals molecular weight 1 by 10 plus 1 by 2. So however you want to do, 12 by 20. 12 by 20 is nothing but molecular weight times, you can simplify it as divided by 4 will give you 3 by 5. So what is the N factor? N factor is 5 by 3. 5 by 3 is the N factor. Basically equivalent weight divided by 5 by 3 would be, basically your equivalent weight equals molecular weight divided by N factor. Molecular weight divided by 5 by 3 is same as molecular weight times 3 by 5. This is how you do your N factor. I'll post a couple of questions as well. The problems I solved, I actually post a worksheet right below in the link in the description in YouTube. You can actually download it yourself and look into it. It also has few other problems for you to practice. Equivalent weight or equivalent mass comes in one other place in your syllabus. It comes in Faraday's first law. When you do electrolysis, how much of the given metal is deposited at the cathode. Now, This might not be relevant to people who are just beginning in 11th standard and looking into equivalent weight. So come back to this video when you have finished your electrochemistry in 12th standard. It will be useful. For people who are doing a repeaters course, this will be useful. So we know that the moles of electrons that you pass is given by IT over F. I is the amperes of current, T is the time, F is Faraday's constant, 96,485 Coulomb. Now, what you want to know is, when you pass electrons, you are going to obviously reduce a metal. Now, the metal can be, let's say we can take aluminum 3 plus going into aluminum, copper 2 plus going into copper, or Ag plus going into Ag. If I pass the same amount of current, meaning same moles of current, you will not reduce the same moles of them. 1 mole of electrons will reduce 1 mole of Ag plus. But for every mole of Cu2 plus, I need 2 moles electron. For every moles of Al3 plus, I need 3 moles electron. So if I pass moles electron is 1, what is the moles metal deposited? So this needs 3 moles electron for every mole of metal. I am passing only 1 mole electron, so this will be 1 by 3, 1 by 2, 1. So when I do moles electron, I don't deposit the same amount of the metal for 2 different reasons. One is my moles metal is different, one is the molar mass is different. So let's not worry about molecular mass right now. We are looking at moles of the metal itself. So the moles of metal is going to be different. It's going to be inversely proportional to here. Valency is here. Now what you want to do is, the fundamental behind the whole thing is, this is the way you calculate moles electron. 1 mole of an electron will deposit 1 by 3 mole of Al3 plus, 1 by 2 moles of Cu2 plus, or 1 mole of Ag plus into the corresponding metal. Or the best way to say it is, 1 mole of an electron will reduce 1 equivalent of Al3 plus, 1 equivalent of Cu2 plus, or 1 equivalent of Ag plus. This is the importance about equivalence. They make everything equal. So it reduces 1 equivalent of all of them. Now, how do you get your equivalent weight? Molecular weight by 3, molecular weight by 2, molecular weight by 1, molecular weight by valency. Now, if you just look into what I just said, here I will get 1 equivalent of Al. Okay, 1 equivalent of Al. What will be the equivalent weight of that? Molecular weight by 3. Now, if I pass 3 moles electron, okay, 1 mole electron deposits 1 equivalent of Al. 3 moles electron will deposit 3 equivalents of Al. So molecular weight by 3 times 3 will give you molecular weight, meaning 1 mole of Al. Okay. Now here, this is important. Moles of electron is going to be IT over F. The whole concept is, moles of electron, 1 mole electron equals 1 equivalent of metal. This is always going to be true. So how much of the metal you are going to deposit? The weight of the metal equals equivalent weight of the metal times IT over F. What does IT over F give you? Moles of electron. Moles of electron equals the equivalence of the metal. So if I know the moles of electron, which is the equivalence of the metal, equivalence times equivalent weight will give you weight. Now, what we can do is, we can take a symbol as E for simplicity, E times IT over F. Sometimes it is written as ZIT. You will see this formula in many books. Z is nothing but electrochemical equivalent. What is Z? Z equals W at I equals 1, T equals 1. So Z is nothing but the mass of a metal deposited when you pass 1 ampere of current for 1 second. That's your electrochemical equivalent. There are questions where they ask you directly electrochemical equivalent. You can calculate. Now, it has come in neat few times. What you want to do is, you always want to make sure that you remember this formula. It's a lot easier. Equivalent weight. I can expand this formula also to write W equals molecular weight divided by N factor times IT over F. Molecular weight divided by N factor will give you equivalent weight times IT over F. Now that you have seen equivalent weight, it's a lot easier. Now the common things that come for in NEET is aluminum. Aluminum comes and it's actually extremely simple. Equivalent weight of aluminum is molecular weight divided by 3. If molecular weight of aluminum is 27 divided by 3 is a really round number, 9. So it comes easily. Copper, I have asked you to remember 63.5 divided by 2. Don't calculate it, just leave it as a 63.5 divided by 2. The 2 will get cancelled out in the math. Silver is 108. So equivalent weight and molecular weight are same. So this is how you do an equivalent weight problem using Faraday's law. Again, this is for class 12. In an electrolysis experiment, a current was passed for 5 hours through 2 cells connected in series. The first cell contains a solution of gold salt and the second cell contains copper sulfate. So many grams of gold is deposited. What is the amount of copper deposited? Now they are telling you it's in series, meaning the same amount of current is being passed. Okay, essentially this is what is being given. In one cell I get my AU deposited, my other cell I get my copper deposited. If so much of AU is getting there, how much of copper would be there? Now what we know is they are in series, so moles electron is same in both of them, meaning my IT over F is same in both of them. So what we know is the weight deposited equals equivalent weight times IT over F in both cases. So weight deposited in 1 equals weight deposited in 1 is given this way. Now weight deposited in 2 equals E IT over F in 2. Now what we know is IT over F is same. So W1 by E1 equals IT over F, which is W2 by E2. So this condenses down to the formula that you want to remember. W1 by E1 equals W2 by E2, or we can also write W1 by W2 equals E1 by E2. Now I know the weight of gold 9.85. This should be equal. This is 1 is gold means equivalent weight of gold. Equivalent weight of gold molar mass divided by N factor is 3 divided by equivalent weight of copper. N factor is 2. So you can calculate it W2. This is how you do a problem.